The Occoquan Radio Podcast is a private production and is not affiliated with the town of Occoquan. Opinions expressed on the podcast are solely those of its host and guests. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Ernie Porta, bringing you 10 to 15 minutes every week of irregular, unscheduled updates on things Occoquan and beyond. As mentioned in an earlier episode, we've been on travel for a few weeks and unable to broadcast, but are now back on our regular schedule. This week on the podcast, we'll cover recent activities in town, a rather random item in the Occoquan Historical Society's Millhouse Museum collection, provide a development update in our Rumor Mill Shredder segment, and close by reviewing upcoming activities in and around town. Make sure you don't miss an episode by searching for us on the podcasting app of your choice and hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. In town business, at its meeting last Tuesday, the Town Council received its final presentation on the proposed budget and tax rates for fiscal year 2026, which begins July 1. There are no proposed increases in any of the town's tax rates. The public hearing on the proposed FY 2026 budget will take place on May 6th, and the public hearing on the proposed FY 2026 tax rates will take place on May 20th. Votes on both are scheduled to take place at the Town Council meeting on May 20th. Also at the last Town Council meeting, Councilmember Nancy Freeborn-Britton announced that she had accepted a job offer in another location that will make it difficult for her to continue to serve as a council member. Consequently, she resigned from the council that evening. We're all grateful to Ms. Freeborn-Britton for her service to our community, sad to see her go, although she is not moving, just stepping off the council, and wish her the best in her new position. To fill her seat until a special election, which would be held in November, the Town Council unanimously appointed former council member Bob Love. Hopefully this past week, many of you were able to check out the PEEPs dioramas that were part of the town's annual PEEP show. A number of our businesses really went all out, and close to 1,000 votes were cast in the contest. All the entries were great, but of course only a few could win. In the business category, Glory B at 305 Mill Street took first place honors, while the Art a la carte Gallery at 310 Mill Street and the Loft Gallery at 313 Mill Street took second and third place respectively. In the community competition, the Jumanji diorama won in the kids category, Gilmore Girls Stars Mallow won in the teens category, Defying Gravity won in the individual category, and Peter Peeps Community Library won for the team category. There were also 2 Mayor's Choice honorable mentions, Back to the Future and Hello Kitty Cafe. Again, all the dioramas were great. Thank you to everyone who took the time to participate in this very enjoyable annual event, including those of you who took the time to look at the entries and vote. We appreciate all of you. You can find out more information about the contest and winners at www.visitoccoquanva.com. where they also offer you a pro tip. Grab those on-sale PEEPs now and save them up for next year's contest. Our Occoquan History segment this week comes from a Curator's Corner article from the March 2009 issue of the Occoquan Historical Society's newsletter. The impetus for the article was a wooden molasses bucket donated to the museum in 1983 and on display. Very little is known, however, about the bucket itself, but its presence generated some research into the fascinating history of what it once contained, molasses. Molasses is a byproduct of the sugar refining process. Sugar cane and sugar beets most often serve as the initial raw material. Cane is best grown in tropical and subtropical climates where its stalks may exceed 20 feet in height. In contrast to sugar cane, where the stalk is the source of the sugar, sugar beets store the sweetener in their bulbous roots. These roots can thrive in colder regions, thus making available a wider growing area for the production of sugar. Cane was the first source used to produce a form of molasses in a process believed to date back some 2,500 years to ancient India. The Arabs eventually brought it to Spain, and from there Christopher Columbus ultimately carried it to the Western Hemisphere. Use of sugar beets as a source of molasses is a much more recent invention. Sometime in the middle of the 18th century, a German chemist discovered that sugar in beets, and by the end of the century, a compatriot developed the process for extracting it. Appropriately, the first sugar beet factory opened in Prussian Silesia in 1802. During the Napoleonic Wars, with a British blockade shutting off the flow of sugar from the Caribbean, Napoleon promoted the development of a continental sugar beet industry, even going so far as to award the Legion of Honor to one producer. Molasses is essentially juice drawn from the sugarcane stalks or the sugar beet roots, and is the result of a repeated process of washing and heating. Whether dealing with stalks or roots, each is first washed of debris and then cut into smaller pieces. Juice may be extracted from both through a diffusion process in which hot water washes it from the stalk or root. Cane juice, however, can also be extracted by pressing the stalks with heavy rollers. The resulting liquid is clarified with milk of lime and carbon dioxide, and then passed through various filters. This process is repeated several times until it generates a yellow liquid known as thin juice. At that point, the water is boiled away until a syrupy mixture remains from which crystallized sugar is extracted in a centrifuge. What emerges is molasses. Different grades of molasses, i.e., mild, dark, and blackstrap, reflect the amount of processing involved, with the least amount, and thus the grade with the highest sugar content, denoted as mild. Before the advent of the modern manufacturing process, the production of molasses was an extremely dangerous undertaking, most often performed in the Western Hemisphere by enslaved blacks. Harvesting sugar cane and stripping its leaves from the stalk manually was back-breaking labor. Giant animal-powered rollers pressed the sugar cane for its juice, which was collected in kettles where the liquid was boiled away to produce the molasses syrup. Maintenance of the rollers during the pressing process led to serious injuries and even death. Molasses has periodically figured prominently in U.S. history. Many are familiar with the role molasses played in the 18th century triangle trade between Africa, the West Indies, and New England, involving the exchange of rum, manufactured goods, sugar, molasses, and of course slaves. Some may also be aware that molasses was a good upon which the English imposed import duties in the 1730s, stirring the ire of American colonists. By far the most unusual American historical event involving molasses, however, occurred in 1919, when a molasses storage tank burst in Boston, sending a 2-story high wave of molasses through the streets of Boston's North End. The event is known as the Great Boston Molasses Flood. I encourage everyone who is interested in learning more about the items in the collection of the Occoquan Historical Society to visit Occoquan's Millhouse Museum and consider joining the Occoquan Historical Society. You can find more information at www.occoquanhistoricalsociety.org. That's the intro sound for our Rumor Mill Shredder segment. This is where we pay homage to the fact that while for much of its history Occoquan was a prosperous mill town, the only mill in operation today is the rumor mill. Here we take on urban legends, myths, rumors, or other similar topics that need straightening out. This episode's topic is a brief one, and it concerns the Mill at Occoquan project located at the northwest end of town. When construction does not proceed as planned, folks often tend to think a project has been canceled or is otherwise in trouble. And it seems the delays associated with the Mill at Occoquan project are no exception to this type of rumor. As many of you know, with the return of the Osprey, certain types of construction activity are restricted, and that is currently the case with the Mill at Occoquan project, where substantive construction will now likely not begin until the end of the calendar year. At the moment, the owner, who has several other projects going on in other parts of the region, has confirmed with the town that he has no plans to cancel the project or sell the property. So, while delays continue, the project is still scheduled to proceed. As always, we'll close with upcoming events. We're not aware of anything in particular scheduled in town for the upcoming week, but on May 3rd, the town will be holding the Occoquan Volunteer Fair from 10 a.m. to noon at Town Hall. This is a chance to discover volunteer opportunities in town for people of all ages and abilities. Connect with representatives from the town, visit Occoquan, and other nonprofit groups to learn how you can support them with events, cleanups, gardening, historical sites, board positions, and more. This event is an open house format, so show up any time between 10 and noon. No RSVP is necessary, and refreshments will be provided. Also on May 3rd, Earth Addictions will host a Gather, Ground, and Grow event at 7:30 p.m., and the Loft Gallery will hold a Discover the Magic of Watercolor class from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Then on Sunday, May 4th, the Art a la carte Gallery will hold a reception from 2 to 5 for their featured artist of the month, Deirdre Pistaccini, who will share her Hawaiian paintings and experiences. And I hope, Deirdre, that I pronounced your name correctly. For more information on some of these and other activities in Occoquan, go to www.visitoccoquanva.com/events. Again, that's www.visitoccoquanva.com/events. That brings us to the end of this episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. Make sure you don't miss an episode by searching for us on the podcasting app of your choice and hitting the subscribe button. I'm your host, Ernie Porta. Thank you for listening.